qualified nutrition gut specialist, and I think our live video is playing, but let's just make sure it is. It's a very, very hot day, so hopefully you've already been out to do a bit of exercising before it gets too hot. I have been already for a walk. Please say hello if you're watching on replay. I would love to hear from you, and so give us a hashtag replay, and if you've got any questions, then pop them in the box below. I would be delighted to answer them for you. So yes, we're live. Hello everybody, my name is Trish. I'm a qualified nutritionist. I've got a lot of letters after my name. I think the four most important letters might be M, M, U, M. I am a menopausal mum of 2 young boys. I am an Aussie. I'm loving this weather. Thank goodness summer's already here, and I'm sorry if you're all melting. I have turned my lounge room into a sleeping pad, so we all slept downstairs last night. All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my weight loss journey. I'll tell you a bit about that. And I'm going to give you a few tips, talk about a little bit about hormones, a little bit about the basics of weight loss, creating good habits that are lifestyle, life-changing habits, and give you a few little tips that I find really beneficial. But let's start with my weight loss story. So my entire life, my entire adult life, I have been pretty much 60 kilos, 59, 60 kilos, of course, other than being pregnant. And in March 2020, of course, we arrived from Australia. We moved into a small village where we had sort of been visiting for quite some time, but here to support my mother-in-law. And prior to that, I'd been living summer, UK, Australia. So for 20 years, I'd spend summer in the UK, keeping people healthy at festivals and events and retreats. And then I would fly to Australia and spend all of UK winter in Australia doing the same thing. So I had this amazing lifestyle, business, living the absolute dream. And then we settled into the new village in March 2020. Now, we all know what happened in March 2020. Our lives changed dramatically. Now, I've been doing a lot of homeschooling of my kids because they went to school in both countries, but we were having to homeschool at home. So instead of Glastonbury Kids Zone, Glastonbury Festival, WOMAD Festival, Boomtown Festival, all these amazing festivals, we were homeschooling our children at home. And that was really hard, and that involved a lot of baking, home baking. Who did a lot of home baking in the lockdown? I would love to hear from you. Put a comment below. Now, also, I am married to a professional clown, and everything we do in our businesses required audience. So that was really interesting. So we had to do a big pivot in our businesses and in our lives, and it affected all of us, right? So it affected me with fear, worry, concern over my children, homeschooling, stressing out, lots of home baking, lots of sitting on my backside on Zoom instead of doing 20,000 steps a day in the juice bar. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I became accidentally overweight. And I use that term with my clients because, ladies, when we get to a certain age, it's our intention to put on weight, right? But we do. And it becomes much harder to shift it in the menopause, let me tell you. And especially if you are stressing and worrying about money and your kids and your business and all that sort of thing. So hello, Claire. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. So it sounds like we all had that experience in the lockdown where we were maybe emotionally eating and we were home baking and we were, doing all the wrong things. And I did say to my husband, I'm not drinking any alcohol the entire lockdowns, because it's just going to be too easy to want to get drunk by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which I saw a lot of people doing. So I thought, no, I'm definitely going to be alcohol free, but I made up for it with home baking and banana bread and that sort of thing. So by the time we were through the 3rd lockdown, I had put on 7 kilos. Now, I'm an Aussie, so I talk in kilos, but that's a lot of pounds. So it's like 10 pounds, I think. That's a lot of weight. Like, that was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life, other than being pregnant. And then when I went to lose it, guess what? I had a bit of a surprise. I had a bit of a shock that I just couldn't lose it. Like, I was, I had put on this adipose tissue, this belly weight, and this weight around my bum and all over actually my back. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Now, along came Katie Evans, thank goodness for Katie, and she was posting about her cravings. And I definitely had cravings. Like, I had become this all-day snacker, and I was definitely eating through my motions, and I was definitely becoming this crazy snacking person. So I was definitely doing all the wrong things. And then when I went to try and lose weight, it just wasn't shifting. So Katie had mentioned to me about our good friend Superfood Plus and of the amazing Protein Max chocolate. Oh my God, love it so much. And she'd mentioned she'd had a post about how that really helped her with cravings, and I thought, right, I've been in touch with Katie for quite some time, and I was like, I already use protein powder, and I always use lots of super greens in the juice bar. What makes this different? And she explained to me about the organic and all of that. That's amazing. So, and the good thing about this, it's got digestive enzymes and probiotics, and I talk to my clients about digestive enzymes and probiotics all the time because we need that for our gut health. So, and then came along the TBTC challenge. Now, I managed to get third place in the TBTC challenge because I lost pretty much all that lockdown weight. I think it was about 4 kilos by that stage. So I'd got back down to around 61, which I was happy with. As a menopausal mum, I was quite happy with that. So TBTC challenge just recently also had a really good result. And here I am supporting you and supporting my clients to continue that journey. And so it worked really, really well. I managed to get, I managed to stop the cravings, like stop eating that all day snacking, because I just constantly hungry as a menopausal woman, just, always thinking about food, and working from home, always thinking about food. So let me share with you my top weight loss tips. Now, I have got to say, ladies, particularly, we do know deep down what it takes to lose weight. And I think it's good to hear a reminder from someone like a nutritionist, but deep in our heart, we know that we have to stop snacking, we have to reduce hidden calories in our lattes and cappuccinos, in our white wine, red wine, champagne, beer, in our late night snacking, in our crisps, all those little things that you're doing on a regular basis. Biscuits in tea, all of those little habits that you may have picked up in lockdown, or maybe you've had them your entire life. They're like extra calories that are just constantly creeping on. And we know the old-fashioned saying of a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. All right, so deep down, we know what we've got to do, right? But it's about that accountability and that encouragement, and tapping into your why, like, why do you want to lose weight? So for me, it was just like, oh my God, I made my decision in my early 20s. I was never going to be overweight. And then it was a shock. So my big vision is to be fitter, healthier, and stronger as I age. And, that's going pretty well. I'm 53 and, I've got 2 young boys, and I feel fit and healthy and strong. So that's my big why. So I think it's really good to start there. Like, have you got a wedding that you're got something nice to fit into? Do you want to go on holiday and look good in a bikini? Do you want your clothes to just fit better? Like, do you have a pair of jeans or a pair of shorts that you can't quite do up? And maybe you just want to feel better in your clothes, and you want to feel like you want to, just feel better about yourself. So always start with why, because the why will get you through the late night snacking, having to avoid 4 o'clock binging on cheese and crackers, or that cookie dipped in the cup of tea habit, or the crisp habit that you've got. Okay, so that's number 1. Start with why. Number 2 is make sure that you are increasing your water. Now, that's a really easy thing to say, but how do you know how much water you're drinking? I will have 2 of these full a day. These are 1 litre water bottles, stainless steel, and by the end of the day, I'll make sure I've finished them. Okay, now your herbal teas also count, and your water content in your vegetables will also count, but having 2 bottles of water and drinking away from eating is a really good thing. And why we do that is because we need those digestive enzymes to be nice and potent, and we need our hydrochloric acid in our stomach to be nice and potent to break down the food. And what, ladies? As we age, we can have compromised hydrochloric acids in the stomach, and we can have definitely compromised digestive enzymes. That's why the Superfood Plus is such a good product, because it has those in there. So drinking plenty of water, but away from your food, so you don't eat and drink at the same time. And then, to stick to 3 meals a day. I know Alex spoke about this yesterday. Don't skip meals. You definitely want fat and protein at every meal. But what you can do is play around with your portion sizes. So how much fat and protein is enough? You can use your hand to guide you as to the size of your stomach, because we're all different. So if we have that much protein a day, and we have that much fat on a plate, so that could be avocado, coconut, cashews, some seeds, some nuts, be derived from meat products if you're not vegan, and then the rest of our plate can be filled with lots of leafy greens and high water content fruit and mostly vegetables, like your salads, your cucumbers, your tomatoes, that sort of thing. So each plate to be nice and balanced, and making sure you've got fat and protein at each meal, is going to keep you fuller for longer, and will help you avoid snacking in between meals. Now, the other thing is, you can pile your plate quite high with leafy greens. So your bitter greens are really, really good, like your rocket, your watercress, your kale, your spinach, all of that sort of thing. Eat as much of that as you like, and I really encourage you to think about having a savory breakfast and getting some leafy greens onto your plate for breakfast. I absolutely love a little bit of scrambled eggs, a little bit of leafy greens, maybe a bit of kimchi for my breakfast. Is a really good way to start the day, because it makes me feel fuller for longer and stops me snacking and having that energy slump in the afternoon. Okay, what else can I say? If you do feel like snacking, many of us are prone to emotional eating, and that's exactly what I was doing in lockdown. I was really scared, I was really fearful, I was really stressed, and I was emotionally eating. Now, when you are stressed, eating is the last thing you should do, because when we're stressed, we have cortisol in our bloodstream, and guess what? When we have cortisol in our bloodstream, we have the release of insulin, and insulin is a fat-storing hormone. So, and I often talk about the feisty 4 hormones. We talk about the thyroid, the insulin, the sex hormones, and your stress hormones. So we have stress in the body, we have cortisol being released, and that is a sure sign that digestion is firstly not happening, because we are, adrenaline is flooding the limbs, and it's suggesting that we should run from the tiger. Now, none of us live with a saber-toothed tiger anymore, but we live with mobile phones, stress from kids, stress from husband, stress from boss, stress from businesses, whatever. So try not to eat when you're stressed. And if you're an emotional eater, I really encourage you to have a little bit of a checklist, a toolkit, a go-to list that is your list that helps you not to eat when you're stressed. So you could have anything on that list. Do some yoga, do some laughter yoga and Tai Chi we've got coming up. Go for a walk, phone a friend, put on some music, go for a swim, just get outside, get away from the kitchen. Anything that's in your toolkit. Like for me, it's music, it's walking, it's chats with the dog, cuddles with the kids, calling a friend, legs up the wall, anything that's not related to food. Because if you are an emotional eater, then that can be a very hard habit to break. So you need a little reminder list, maybe on the fridge or the pantry, to not eat when you're stressed. All right. Now, we all know we should try and avoid inflammatory foods, and the big culprits would be refined packaged foods, so your crisps, your sweets, your pastries, your biscuits. Try and avoid those. Caffeine, interestingly, 1 cup of coffee a day, really good for the liver. Anything more beyond that is inflammatory and dehydrating, so you want to try and avoid coffee. And if you really need your coffee, have it black or in just a tiny little bit of plant-based milk. and not go for lots of lattes, cappuccinos, caramel macchiatos, all those sweet syrup sort of coffees, because they're laden with hidden calories. They're not of any nutrient value, and they will be causing you to put on weight, and they also cause stress, and they also cause inflammation, and that's what we're trying to avoid. All right, definitely don't skip meals, have 3 meals a day. What you can do though is reduce your portion size. So you may decide to have your meals in a bowl rather than a big plate. And you could do that gradually, because basically when we're trying to lose weight, we just need to really eat less and move our body more. Now, so you could go to a bowl or a smaller plate and make sure you're filling your plate with lots of water, high water content veggies. All right. Hey, Kathy, how you doing? How you doing? Okay. Right. I've got to show you my favorite way to have our lovely protein max. I do have a preference for the chocolate. I do love chocolate, and this has really helped me eat less chocolate. Like, I don't have chocolate in the house anymore. I just have this, and especially when I've been to the gym or I've been out for a walk and I feel like I need something at around 4 o'clock, I will have a second protein shake. So I only have 1 scoop a day. It helps me make it last a little bit longer, but I find that that's all I need. If I have any more than 1 scoop a day, it does tend to make me a little bit constipated. So just be aware of that. Now, I also have one of these shakers, which are quite easy to get. I think we used to have them, but maybe they've been rebranded. So I put water, this much water, 1 scoop of Superfood Plus, because it's got the digestive enzymes and it's got the probiotics, so they're really good for the gut. And what the digestive enzymes do is help us make the most of all the nutrients in whatever's in the meal. All right, and then I will have 1 scoop of Protein Max. Do love the chocolate. And then the rest is water. So I don't like it too thick, and I occasionally mix it in with smoothies, especially for the kids, but I don't want too much thickness. So I just mix it in with water, give it a good shake, and voila, and it'll take me. And sometimes this is what I'll have at breakfast, and sometimes I'll have this in addition to some veggies and maybe some scrambled eggs or something like that, or a broth with some veggies. But not all the time. Sometimes I'll just have this for breakfast, and that's enough. And then the other thing is, I like to, sometimes I'll have it, if I'm going to the gym, sometimes I'll have it within 40-minute window, because you know what? The more muscles you have, the more calories you can consume. The more you work out, the more calories you can consume. So if you're logging your calorie consumption and you're thinking, to stick with around 1,500 calories a day, if you work out, that might give you an extra 200 calories, depending on what the type of exercise is. So a half an hour walk could give you an extra 200 calories. And it's really good to have protein within that exercise window, because when you're using your muscles, especially if you're doing weight training, which is really good for us in the menopause, then you can burn more fat. You'll need more fat as fuel. The protein can help rebuild the muscles, which is very important, and you can find that you can consume a little bit more calories and not put on weight. All right, so basically we are aiming for a calorie deficit. So that means whatever you're burning in a day, and I know my BMI, I know that I can probably consume up to 2,000 calories a day without putting on weight. So if I want to lose weight, I want to stick to around 1,500 calories. And of course, not all calories are equal. So you will get lots of calories from wine and chocolate and crisps that are not giving you good nutrients. You will get really good calories from things like avocados and coconut and low GI fruits like berries. So all your berries are fantastic. Green apples, pears, very, very good. Lots of cucumber, very good, very low in calories. You can eat much more of them, and they're going to give you a lot better nutrient value. All right, so that's probably about a summary of what I want to share with you today. Look, there's one other thing I do want to say, that if you're struggling in the menopause and your hormones are out of balance, so you may have too much testosterone, you're really stressed, you've got a lot of cortisol kicking off in your body, you're not sleeping very well, you've got low melatonin, then make sure you do have your 3 square meals a day. feed yourself with fat and protein. And you know, it's worth getting tested. So if you're curious about that, let me know. Because I see a lot of ladies that may be really high testosterone and really high stress, and of course that is going to cause them to release a lot of insulin, which is the fat storing hormone, and no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to lose weight. So it's really important that we balance out those hormones, reduce the stress, slow down when we're eating, because often we are rushing women and we will be rushing our meals, rushing on to the next job, eating in the car, eating on the way to school pickup, or just not taking time to eat. Like Alex was saying yesterday, she just didn't eat. And that's not the right message to the body. We want to take time to nourish, to eat well for our hormones, and then we're going to feel good, we're going to sleep better, we're going to feel lighter and brighter and fitter and stronger, and that's why we're here. All right, so hopefully that's been useful. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me, pop them in the comments. If you're watching on replay, please do #replay, and we're here to support you. So we've got 3 weeks really to nail a few good habits: drinking more water, eating more slowly, having fat and protein, moving our body every day, doing some yoga, Tai Chi, Mr. Motivator, get him up on YouTube or get him in the app. So much fun. Oh yeah. And have a bit of fun while we're doing it. So dancing is amazing. And and reach out to us. We've got lots of other good material coming your way for the next 3 weeks. So we're here to support you. And thanks so much for watching. See you next time.